Let's solve this managerial economics question together. So we have this particular question, which is the trial question, question 7, right? So I'm going to read the question. So the question says that suppose that the demand and supply functions for the Twisco company's products are, so this is the demand function, which is KOX is equal to 400 minus 2px plus 3pr plus 0.7m. Then the supply function is KOS is equal to negative 160 plus 8px. Then they went on to say where KOX is the quantity demanded for Twisco products, PX is the price. The PX is the price for Twisco products as well. Then PR, which is the one here, is the price of Twisco's rival. It means that a substitute to Twisco, you get it. That's what we mean by rival. And M is the income of consumers. So the M here is the income of consumers, right? So they said we should also assume that PR is equal to 15 and M is equal to 50. So the PR, we are assuming that is 15. M2, we are assuming that is 50. So the I says that we should write a new equation for demand if we hold all other factors constant apart from the price of Twisco. So the I, new demand equation. If we hold all other factors constant apart from the price of Twisco. So they already told us that PX is the price of Twisco. So they are saying apart from PX, you should hold PS constant, but the rest of them, you have to find an equation for them. So you have to substitute the values. So now our new demand equation is going to be KOX is equal to 400 minus 2px. 2px, you're not going to do anything to it because I said we should leave it constant. Then plus 3pr, but we know our pr is 15, so plus 3 times 15. Then plus 0.7m, and we know our m is 50. Do you get it? Then now our KOX will be equal to, here you can just solve it straight on the calculator. So apart from negative 2px, punch every other thing on the calculator. So 400 plus 3 times 15 plus 0.7 times 50. And you should be getting 480 when you punch on the calculator. Then now you bring your negative 2px. Do you get it? So this is going to be our new demand equation after we make the px constant and we substitute the other values into it. Do you get it? So you are getting 480 minus 2px. That's for the I. Now let's go to the II. For the II, it said you should calculate the equilibrium price and quantity for Twisco. So equilibrium price and quantity. Now, by now, I'm sure we all know that at equilibrium, quantity demanded is equal to quantity supplied. Now, this is our quantity demand, our new demand equation. So you use the demand equation after you substituted the values, not the one here. Once you're equating it, you have to get the same values for both of them. So you realize that for the new demand equation, you have only px. The supply functions, you have only px. You don't have pr there or anything. So you can use that one. So our new demand equation, which is our KOD, is 480 minus 2px. Then it's equal to the supply function, the KOS. That was already given to you in the question as negative 160 plus 8px. Now we can group like terms. You are going to get 480. The negative 160 will cross the equal to sign to become positive 160. Then this will be equal to 8px. The negative 2px will cross the equal to sign to become positive 2px. Now we are getting 480 plus 160. That should give us 640. Then it's equal to 8px plus 2px. That should give us 10px. We want to make px the subject, so we want to find for the equilibrium price. So we are dividing both sides by 10. We also divide here by 10. So this will cancel this. So our px will be equal to 640 over 10, which should give us 64. So this is our equilibrium price. You get it? Now we want to find for the quantity too, because they said we should find for the equilibrium price and quantity. So just substitute the price of 64 into either the demand function or the supply function. So let me just use the demand function. So we are going to get our KOD to be equal to 480 minus 2px. Now we know our px, 480 minus 2px, we know our px is now 64. So 480 minus 2 times 64, right? So now when we solve this on the calculator, 480 minus 2 times 64, we should be getting 352, right? So yeah, so now our equilibrium price is 64 cedis, then our equilibrium quantity is 352 units. I hope you get it. So that's for the II. Now let's go to III. So for the III, he said at equilibrium, find the values of consumer and producer surpluses. So let me do that at this part. So to make it easy, you can just draw a table for it. Do you get it? Or a diagram for it, sorry. So that's for III. So consumer and producer surplus. So enjoying that, we can have our y-axis and our x-axis. So the y-axis is always the price. The x-axis is always the quantity. Do you get it? Then we'll have something like the demand and the supply. Do you get it? Then where they intersect is the equilibrium. The one that goes down is our demand line, which is D0. The one that goes up is our supply line, which is S0. Do you get it? So where they intersect is the equilibrium. Then you use short dashes from the equilibrium, start the x-axis, and that's your equilibrium quantity. Then you use short dashes from the equilibrium, start the price as well. That's your equilibrium price. So the equilibrium quantity is what we got here right now, which is 352. Then the equilibrium price is also what we solved for here, which is 64. So 64. Do you get it? So now this portion, the triangle upwards is your consumer surplus, the triangle down is your producer surplus. But we have to find a value for here and here. Do you get it? So that we can actually find, because it's from here to this side. So you need to find values for here and here. So now to find the value for here, here is the demand line, you get it? So we trace it to the demand function. So the demand function, we got it as 480 minus 2px. That's what we solved for here. So now let me do it here. So 480 minus 2px. Let me write it well. So we had KOD or KOX. So KODX is equal to 480 minus 2px. So now we say when KOD is equal to 0, this is what is going to happen. So when KOD is equal to 0, you're going to get 0 is equal to 480 minus 2px. That will make price the subject. So negative 2px will cross the equal to sign to become 2px. Then to be equal to 480. Then now you can divide both sides by 2 to make px stand alone. So this will cancel this. So our px will be equal to 480 over 2, which should give us 240, right? So here is going to be 240. So let me just... Right. So the value here is 240, which is this particular part. Do you get it? So now that I found the value for here, you also have to find a value for this part as well. Do you get it? So this part is just the supply function. So you go to the supply equation, which is already given in the question. Negative 160 plus 80. Sorry, negative 160 plus 8px. So that one to make KOS 0 and find for the price there. So KOS is equal to negative 160 plus 8px. So say where KOS is equal to 0, or when KOS is equal to 0, so we are going to get 0 is equal to negative 160 plus 8px. Then we want to make px a subject, so you can bring negative 160 to cross the equal to sign. So we are going to get positive 160 is equal to 8px. Then we'll divide both sides by 8, divide here by 8. This will cancel this. Then our px should be equal to, so 160 over 8 will give you 20. So our px should be equal to 20. I hope you get it. So now here will be 20. So if you want to find the values for here and here, for here, just make the demand function, make KOD 0, find the price. Here is the supply function. So make KOS 0, then find for the price there, that's all. So now that we've got all the values, you can find for the consumer surplus and the producer surplus. So let's start with the consumer surplus. So I'll label it as CS. And it's a triangle. This is the area. I hope you've seen it, this area. So, and we know the area for a triangle is half times base times height. So half times the base. The base is here. You get it? So from here to this side. And that's 352. So times 352. Then times the height. The height is from here to here. You get it? So 240 minus 64. So 240 minus 64. So now when we punch this on the calculator, half times 352 times 240 minus 64, we should be getting 30,976. So 30,976. So this is for our consumer surplus. Now we can find for the producer surplus. So for the producer surplus, it's also this area and it's also a triangle. Do you get it? So the area is half times the base. The base is always the same. The base for the consumer surplus and producer surplus are always the same. So that's from here to here, which is the 352. Then times the height. The height is from here to here. You get it. So it will be 64 minus 20. The bigger one minus the smaller one. So 64 minus 20. So you can punch all this on the calculator to half times 352 times 64 minus 20. And that should give us 7,744. So 7,744. So this is our producer surplus. Do you get it? So we are done with the III. So yes, this would be the producer surplus, which is 7,744. So now we are done with the III. Let's go to the IVIN. So the IVIN, we are asked to estimate and interpret the own price elasticity, income elasticity, and the cross price elasticity of demand at equilibrium. So let me clean this part and the down part too so that we can solve it together. All right, so for the IVIN, we're asked to estimate and interpret the own price elasticity, income elasticity, and the cross price elasticity of demand at equilibrium. Remember, it's at equilibrium. So let's start with the own price elasticity. So now that's for the IVIN. So we are going to start with the own price elasticity. And I think I've done this topic already, and I mentioned that the formula for own price elasticity of demand is del QX over del the price times the price over QX. You get it? So you can make it dQX over dP times P over QX. Do you get it? So this del QX over del P means that you take the quantity demanded function after we substituted the PR and the M. You get it? So you take the quantity demanded function, which is 480 minus 2px. Then you look for the coefficient of what is down here, which is P. So the coefficient of px, and that will give you -2. Do you get it? So just take this function, then the coefficient of the P, which is -2, then you write it there. You get it? So always, this one is about the quantity demanded, not the quantity supplied. So don't forget. Then times P, they said at equilibrium. So the price at equilibrium, we already solved for it and we got 64. Then over the quantity, also at equilibrium, we solved for it and got 352. So we can just punch this on the calculator. When we punch it on the calculator, we should be getting -0.36. So -0.36. But we are calculating for own price elasticity of demand. And put this in your head, anytime I'm calculating for own price elasticity of demand, just own price, you take the absolute value, meaning that you take the positive of it. So this is -0.36. So we are going to take the positive, which will be 0.36. So now we've got 0.36 as the own price elasticity of demand. After we made it positive, you always take the positive and put this in your head. When you're calculating for own price elasticity of demand, if you get any value that is less than 1, like 0.36, 0.36 is less than 1, then we conclude that it is inelastic. So that's how we interpret it. It is inelastic. You get it? However, if you got something greater than 1, we would have said it was elastic. If it's greater than 1, it's elastic. So if we had got 1.5, 2.0, whatever, we would have said it's elastic. But once it's less than 1, it is inelastic. So you can conclude that it is inelastic. All right, so that's for the own price elasticity of demand. They also said we should calculate for the income elasticity of demand. So let me do it here. Income elasticity. And for that one too, the formula is del QX over del M, or the income, times M over QX. So this one, they already told us in the question that M is income. You get it? So whatever is representing income will be your M here. So if they say T is income, then it will be here. But usually income is represented by M. So now this del QX over del M means that you are going to take the quantity demanded function. So for this one, there's no M here, so we can use this one. So we'll take the demand function, then we'll take the coefficient of M. You get it? And that is 0.7. So 0.7. So all this is 0.7, then times M. M, they give you the value for it already as 50. Then over QX. QX is 352. That's the equilibrium quantity. So 352. So you can just punch all this on the calculator. 0.7 times 50 over 352. And I think you should be getting 0.0994. 0.0994. You get it? And this is a positive value. This one you don't take negative or positive. You get it? Once you get the answer, you may, so assume you got negative, we wouldn't have changed it to positive. But then this one, we got a positive answer, which is 0.0994. And since you are asked to interpret it, we are going to say that it is a normal good. So when you calculate for income elasticity of demand and you get a positive value, it means that it's a normal good. However, assuming it was negative, we would have said it's an inferior good. You get it? But because it's positive, that's why we are concluding that it is a normal good. All right, now let's go to the last one, which is the cross price elasticity, right? So here's the cross price elasticity. Let me do that here. So cross price elasticity. So that one, so the formula is del QX over the price of the substitute. This one, they told you that in the question, PR is the price of Twisco's rival. You get it? And I told you that the rival means the substitute. So it's not only the substitute, though. Let me just rephrase it. It can also be a complement, but it just has to be a related good. You get it? So this one, since they told you that PR is the price of Twisco's rival, or to be del PR, then times PR over QX. So here PR, here QS. So it goes like diagonal, like an X. Do you get it? So now del QX over del PR. So it means we take the QX function, then we'll look at the coefficients of PR, and we are getting 3. Then times PR. PR, they give it to you as 15. Then QX is what is here, which is 352. So when we punch this on the calculator, 3 times 15 over 352, we should be getting 0.127. So 0.127. This one too, you don't take negative or positive. Whatever you get, it remains. This one, we got a positive. So now if it's a positive, after you calculate for cross price elasticity of demand, when you get a positive, you conclude that they are substitutes. So good X and PR are substitutes. You get it? So yes, that's how you can. Assuming you got a negative, you'd have concluded that they are complements. But since you got a positive, you are going to say they are substitutes. Do you get it? All right. So I think that's the end of I-VIN. Now let's go to the VIN. So the VIN, it says that if the government imposes an excise tax of 8, what will happen to equilibrium price and quantity of Twisco? All right. So I think for this one, I'll have to clean the board so that we can solve it. All right. Okay. So now the VIN. So they are saying that a tax. Let me just write the question. So if a tax of 8 cedis, was the tax 8 cedis? If a tax of 8 cedis is imposed, what will happen to equilibrium price and quantity? So find equilibrium price and quantity. So after tax is imposed, you find the equilibrium price and quantity. And put this in your head, anytime tax is imposed, it affects only the quantity supply or the supply function. It doesn't affect the demand function. So when a tax is imposed, we'll subtract it from the price in the supply function. This is the supply function. So we have QS is equal to negative 160 plus 8px. And because there's a tax imposed, we are going to subtract it from the price here to get it. So we are going to get our QS to be equal to negative 160 plus 8px. So that's plus 8. Then you open a bracket wherever p is. Before you write a p, you open a bracket. Then you get p or your px. You can bring px or p. then minus the tax. Do you get it? Which is 8. So now we are going to simplify this. So it means our KOS should be equal to negative 160 plus 8 times P is 8P, then 8, then minus 8 times 8. That should give you negative 64. So now let's simplify this. So this will give us KOS is equal to, so now negative 160 minus 64 should give us negative 224, then plus 8P. Do you get it? So now this is our final supply function after the tax of 8 cedis has been introduced. So now that we found our supply function after the tax of 8 cedis has been introduced, we are going to equate it to the original demand function, you get, which was our 480 minus 2ps. After you substituted the PR and the M, do you get it? So the original demand function is the one here, which is 480 minus 2px. That's the one here. Then we'll equate it to the new supply function, which is negative 224 plus 8p. Someone might ask, why are we equating? Because we are finding equilibrium price and quantity. Equilibrium, you always equate demand and supply. Do you get it? So now, in grouping like terms, you are going to get 480, negative 224 across the equal sign to become positive. So positive 224. Then this is equal to 8p. The negative 2px will cross the equal sign. The 8p is the same as 8px. Do you get it? So 8px plus this 2px is the same thing. We can decide to even remove the x to make it easier. So now 480 plus 224 should give us 704. Then this should be equal to 8p plus 2p. That should give us 10p. We can divide both sides by 10 to make p stand alone. So this will cancel this. Our p will be equal to 704 over 10, and that should give us 70.4. So this is our equilibrium price after the tax has been introduced. Do you get it? But now we have to find the quantity as well, because it says you should find the equilibrium price and quantity after the tax of ACs has been introduced. So we just substitute the price of 70.4 into either the demand or the supply equation. Let's substitute it into the demand equation. So now we are going to get, so the demand equation, which is Q is equal to 480 minus 2px. That's the same thing here, 480 minus 2px. But now we know our px or our p is 70.4. So this will be equal to, so when you punch 480 minus 2 times 70.4, you should get 339.2. You get it? So we are done with the equilibrium price and quantity. The equilibrium price is 70.4 cedis and the quantity is 339.2 units. So always don't forget the signs or the units at the end of it. So now we are done with the VIN. So let's go to the VIN. The VIN is that what will the social surplus be after the tax? Right. So now let's clean the board so that we'll solve for it together. All right. So for the VIN, they're asking us the social surplus after the tax. And just know that the social surplus after tax, the formula is the consumer surplus plus the producer surplus plus tax revenue. So just put this in your head. You get it. So the formula for social surplus after tax is consumer surplus plus producer surplus plus tax revenue. All right. So now let's first find for the consumer surplus and the producer surplus. After we'll find for the tax revenue. So now to find for the consumer surplus and producer surplus, it will be easier if we draw a diagram. So in drawing the diagram, we'll have our y-axis and our x-axis. Do you get it? So the y-axis is the price, the x-axis is the quantity. You get it? Then we'll have our demand and supply function. You get it? Or our demand and supply curve. So this will be D0, this will be S0. Do you get it? Then where they intersect is the equilibrium. So this is the before tax effect. This one, the tax has not yet been introduced. So when you just short dashes from the equilibrium to touch the quantity line, that's your equilibrium quantity before tax. When you just short dashes from the equilibrium to touch the price line, that's your equilibrium price before the tax. So now the equilibrium quantity before the tax was what we saw for in II, but they didn't tell us anything about the tax. I think for that one in II, the equilibrium quantity was 352. Remember, we solved it together. Then the equilibrium price was 64. I hope you guys remember. I'm sure you are solving with me. All right, sure. So now this is before the tax has been introduced. But now we want to look at the social surplus after tax. So we have to find the after tax effect. And anytime there's a tax introduced, the supply curve shifts to the left. So this is the supply curve. So to shift to the left like this, so I'm going to get something like this. So this is your new supply. I can label it S1 or ST, showing that that's when supply has been introduced. Then where ST and the demand intersects, where ST and D0 intersect, is your new equilibrium after the tax. Do you get it? So from here, the new equilibrium, you draw short dashes to touch the quantity line. That's your equilibrium quantity after the tax has been introduced. So I think that's what you found for in VIN. Yes. So what we just did before this, the VIN. And after the tax was introduced, we said the new equilibrium quantity was 339.2, right? Yes. So after the tax was introduced in VIN, we said the new equilibrium was 339.2. I hope you've not forgotten. And we said the price went to 70.4. So 70.4 is the price that consumers are paying, not producers. Consumers are paying after the tax has been introduced. So before the tax was 8 cedi, right? So the tax is 8 cedi. So before the tax was introduced, before the 8 cedi tax was introduced, consumers were paying 64 cedis. But after the 8 cedi tax has been introduced, the consumers are now paying 70.4. So it has gone up. Do you get it? So now if you want to know how much producers are receiving after the tax has been introduced, from this side, where ST and the demand intersect, you draw short dashes or a line, then until it touches the supply, the old supply line, which is the S0. Then from that side, you can draw short dashes to touch the price line. So whatever you get for this side is the amount producers are receiving. But how do we know the amount producers are receiving? We know that the total tax is 8 cedis. Do you get it? And after the 8 cedis tax was introduced, consumers stopped paying 64 cedis and are now paying 70.4. So I can just subtract the tax from it. I can just subtract 8 from 70.4 to know how much producers will receive. So to be 70.4 minus 8, and that should give us 62.4. 62.4. So always, if you want to get the amount producers are paying, just take the tax from how much consumers are paying. You get it, which is the one that then you get the 62.4. So how much consumers are paying minus the tax, you get the 62.4. All right. So now, what are we even finding for? We are finding for the social surplus after tax, which is the consumer surplus plus the producer surplus plus the tax revenue. But then, well, let me show you the portion that's the consumer surplus. This portion is a consumer surplus, so I can label it CS. Then this portion is the producer surplus, so I can label it PS. So now, if you want to find the consumer surplus and the producer surplus, you have to find the values here and here. You get it? And previously, I told you that if you want to find the value here, this is demand, this linked to the demand line. So you take the quantity demanded function. Where is it? The one we got when we substituted the PR and M, which is K dx is equal to 480 minus 2px. They are going to say when KD is equal to 0, it means that 0 is equal to 480 minus 2px. The negative 2px will cross the equal to sign to become positive 2px. Then this will be equal to 480. Then we'll divide both sides by 2, divide here by 2. So our px should be equal to 240. Do you get it? So here will be 240. I hope you get it. Then now we can do same for the supply function to find the value here. So here is linked to the supply function. So that one too, we have QS is equal to, it's already in the question, negative 160 plus 8px. So we are going to say when QS is equal to 0, 0 is equal to negative 160 plus 8px. The negative 160 will cross the equal sign to become positive. So we're going to get positive 160 is equal to 8px. We are going to divide here by 8, divide here by 8 to make p stand alone. So our p is going to be 160 over 8, and that should give us 20. So that would be the price for here, this particular part. So now I can clean the board so that we solve for the producer surplus and the consumer surplus. So now for the consumer surplus, as I said, is this area. And we already know that the consumer surplus, let me do it here. Consumer surplus is equal to half times base times height. So half times the base. The base is from here to here. It's the same thing as here to here. That's 339.2. So times 339.2 times the height. The height is from here to here. Do you get it? So 240 minus 70.4. So times into brackets 240 minus 70.4. So we can punch all this on the calculator. So 28,764.16. Then now our producer surplus. Our producer surplus is also half times base times height. This is our producer surplus. So the base is always the same for the consumer surplus as well, which is the same 339.2. Then times the height. The height is from here to here. So the bigger one minus the smaller one. 62.4 minus 20. 62.4 minus 20. So you can punch all this on the calculator. And when we punch this on the calculator, you should get 7,191.04. So that's for our producer surplus. We said the consumer surplus plus producer surplus plus tax revenue. So now let's find tax revenue. So now we know that tax revenue is equal to the tax times the quantity after tax. So now what is the tax? The tax was 8 cedis times the quantity after the tax. So the tax times the quantity after the tax. So the quantity after the tax is the one here, the one we solved for in vain. Remember, we got it as 339.2. So when we solve this, we should get to 8 times 339.2. We should be getting 2713.6. 2713.6. So now to find our social surplus after tax, we'll add the consumer surplus plus the producer surplus plus the tax revenue. So it's going to be, so CS plus producer surplus plus tax revenue. So the consumer surplus is 28,764.16 plus producer surplus, which is 7,191.04 plus tax revenue, which is 2,713.6. So now when we add all of this, we should get 28,764.16 plus 7,191.04 plus 2,713.6. And we should be getting 38,668.8. So 38,668.8. So ladies and gentlemen, this is our social surplus after the tax. So that's for the VNI. Now, let's go to the VNII. They said we should account for the distribution of tax, meaning how is tax shared between consumers and producers. So now, if you want to know how consumers and producers share the tax, now before the tax, both consumers and producers were receiving 64 cedis. Do you get it? They're receiving 64. But now, let's find for the consumer share of tax. So if you want to find the consumer share of tax, so consumers share of tax. So if you want to find the consumer share of the tax, it's just simply 70.4, which is how much the consumers are paying after the tax, which is the 70.4 minus how much they're paying before the tax. You get it, which is 64. Or the old price before the tax minus the new price after tax. Do you get it? So 70.4, which is this minus this, 70.4 minus 64 should give us 6.4. So it means out of the 8 cedis tax, the consumers are paying 6.4 out of it. So it means the producers are paying the rest. You get it? So producer's share of tax will be the total tax, 8 minus the rest, which is the 6.4. and that should give us 1.6, right? You get it. So the producer's tax is 1.6. Yeah. So if you want to get the consumer share of tax, just take the amount that consumers are paying after the tax minus the amount that they were paying before the tax. You get it? It has increased because of the tax. So when you subtract, you should get their share of the tax. Then after that, you take the total tax minus the consumer share of the tax. Then you get how much the producers are paying in terms of the tax. You get, so you are getting 1.6. All right. So that's for the VIN-II. Then the last one. So this is for VIN-II. And the last one, which is the dead weight loss. All right. I don't know if you can. Okay, let me do it somewhere here. So that's VIN-II, right? So we have dead weight loss. So we are asked to calculate the dead weight loss. The dead weight loss is this triangle. You get it? So always the triangle you see at the right side is the dead weight loss. When you say dead weight loss, I've explained this in another video, but then we said there are inefficiencies that are caused by market interventions, such as taxes, like this one. Do you get it? So what do both producers and consumers lose when taxes have been imposed? Do you get it? So you realize that this area shows. First, the top part shows the from 64 to 70.4 shows how much consumers are losing. Then from 64 to 62.4 shows how much producers are losing. Do you get it? Then from here to here also shows the quantity reduction. Do you get it? From this side to this side, it shows the quantity that you'd have got assuming the tax lien wasn't imposed. So just put your head, just this triangle is the dead weight loss. Do you get it? And it's a triangle, so it's half times base times height. So half times the base. The base is this side. Do you get it? So 70.4 to 64 to 62.4. So always the base is just the tax. You get the tax in the question. So the base is 8. Because 70.4 minus 62.4 is 8. So half times the tax, then times the height. The height is from here to here. Here and here are the same. It's an isosceles triangle. So here and here are the same. That's from here to here. So to be 352 minus 339.2. So times 352 minus 339.2. You get it. So half times 8 times 352 minus 339.2. When you punch it on the calculator, we should be getting 51.2. So this is the dead weight loss. So I think, yes, that's all for question 7. So in the next video, we are going to look at question 8. Thank you very much, and I hope you understood it. See you in the next video.